What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Wait What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 125. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and today I'm joined by... Oh, you quit. Okay, I thought Moose was running over. There he is. I'm joined by Moose. We're home alone. Hi. Come here, sleepy boy. I'm joined by Moose. Hello. You can follow him at nowhere. You can catch this podcast live, usually over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You join the chat if you're a subscriber over there. We'd love to have you in on the conversation. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. It drops over on YouTube and podcast services the very next week. We're working out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, hashtag ad merch store. Get all of your swag over there. T-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand. Support us, and we would love you for it. 125. Holy shit. We are flying real fast towards that 200. I don't know. I mean, we still got 75 to go. But it seems like we're moving a lot faster. Granted, we are going week to week instead of every other week. Whatever. Today's topic. Let's start with topic one. We've talked about it previously on the podcast, but I want to do a full review of WWE2K22. As of recording, the game's been out... Well, I've had the game in my hands for almost a week, thanks to the pre-order and the deluxe, and then regular launch was this past Friday. And I gotta say, this game is a lot of fun. Hey, so there's your 2-second pitch review on a Topic 2. No, I'm just kidding. The game's a lot of fun, and it's nice to see. Not that previous years obviously haven't been fun, but there's something about this one that makes you want to keep playing more. They did a really good job with the gameplay loop. And previous years, it was like, oh yeah, you play for a little while, and then it kind of tapered off, and eventually it was like, oh, until the DLC comes out, then, a little excitement will spring up again, and then you're gone, next DLC. Like, your interest kind of waned and feathered as the year went on. And so far, I mean, granted, we're a week in, so what am I saying? But this feels like a game that I can play more. And there's two reasons for that. One is the gameplay. Gameplay, I think the changes that they did make with the combo system and a little bit more kind of streamlined control scheme, I think that makes it fun and it's very easy to pick up. So that's one thing that's going for it. And then the second thing is the amount of game modes that this year includes. Now, 2K has been pretty good about giving us game modes, in previous years. You obviously had your exhibition, you could just do some matches. You had your universe mode, and then you had your showcase mode. And that was about it. Now, if you weren't the creative in a universe mode, that could get very repetitive fast, especially if some things are not happening, if your rivalries aren't starting up, if there's no cinematics at all. The people who really enjoyed Universe seem to be the people that were creating their own shows. So on the other side of the thing, where I wasn't doing that, it just felt bland. And then Showcase, on the other side of things, was always very rewarding and exciting because you had the unlockables with it. You got the little cinematics, the kind of history behind the matches and whoever the showcase was about that year. But when it's done, it's done. It's that one shot of playthrough. And, it's fun. It's great when it's going on, but then it's done. And then you get over to, I forgot another game mode, but you get to the My Career. The create a wrestler, go from there and do the thing. Now, I didn't play a lot of 20s, personally. And I think that's because I had a kind of a sour taste in my mouth from previous years. And I don't remember what year it was, if it was 18, if it was 19, but the concept was there. You're going to start, indies. You're going to build up to NXT, and then you go to main roster. And you could choose at certain points if you want to jump to roster to go after the mid-card championship or whatever. And I had felt in my playthrough, I'm in NXT. I want to keep going in NXT until I win the NXT title. And then from there, I can move up. And conceptually, it all made sense. It seemed like something interesting. There were supposed to be like cutscenes in between people and like rivalries with certain superstars. So you'd get, interferences happening and different matches happening and whatever. And for some reason, in my playthrough with the NXT branch, I fought the same guy for maybe like 8 weeks. First 4, no rivalry. Second 4, there was a rivalry. So at least it made a little bit more sense. But it was all singles matches, no special stipulations, no tag matches, no triple threat, no interference, nothing like just wrestle this one guy repeatedly. And I was like, ugh. So it put a kind of a sour taste in my mouth. So coming into 2K22, I think what they've done here with the added game modes and the changes that they've done to the ones they've already had, step in the right direction. So let's start with the top. Let's start with Exhibition. Exhibition continues to be fun, obviously. Duh, that's your bread and butter, whether you're playing on your own or whether you're playing with your friends online or locally. Bread and butter. Go in, do some matches, have some fun, cause chaos. Continues to be the same thing here. A lot of fun, once again, with the simplified gameplay. Makes it, I feel, a little bit more accessible to people who are just jumping in. It's not as much of a hurdle. And just the amount of matches that you can have. We've streamed it a few times. If you saw, just like the ladder match creativity, nice to see. It's a small thing for sure, but like if I have an 8-man ladder match, I'm not limited to only Money in the Bank or only for a title. I can have a 4v4. I can have a 2v2v2v2. I can, there's variety in these that I didn't expect, and it was just a nice surprise. And that goes for the other multi-man matches, like having triple threat tags go on, or tornado, or 4v4, whatever it is. It's just nice to see. Once again, you like that availability. That's what I'm thinking of. That freedom to choose what you want to do. It's not very limited of like, no, you're doing an 8-man. This is the only 8-man you can do, is this thing. So, really cool to see there. And then you get into, the wrestlers. The roster is great. Granted, there are some very weird omissions, which we talked about in a previous episode. No Adam Cole, no Bobby Fish, no Aleister Black, no Zelina Vega. And with the whole release window of people getting let go the past 2 years, I get it. They had to play around with that roster a whole bunch with 2K. But just the timing of wait, so-and-so's in the game, but they were released before the other person. And it's just it's a very weird omission. Once you get past that, those letdowns, oh, so-and-so's not here. The roster's great. Because they did include, obviously, a lot of people who were released. And that was the fear going into this game months ago. Is oh shit, who's going to be left? Who are they even going to have in this game? So it's nice to be given the chance to have these titles, or this title, with a Karrion Kross, a Keith Lee, a Tony Storm, a Tegan Knox. These superstars, these wrestlers that were in the company. And, we wanted them to do well. But unfortunately, things happened and they're not there anymore. To have the chance to play them in this type of game. Because as of right now, this is the only wrestling game we have. No AEW game. So it's nice to see them in this format. Obviously, the creative suite people can go nuts and, create wrestlers and create the AEW arena and the Impact title and all these things, which I'll speak on it later, but they're doing fantastic. So just nice to see that they're included officially and seeing the official developers make them and stuff like that. So roster's good. Roster's fun. And then we get to the entrances and the graphics. This game is definitely a step up from the past. I know we talked about it also leading into the game, that some of the cutscenes, or at least the clips they were using in the announcement trailer, little sketch, I don't feel that way playing this game. There's a couple, I will say there are a couple things that do look bad. Ring announcer, I don't know his name, so I'm sorry. That, no care and effort was put into that. If he's talking about rules of a match, like a Royal Rumble, for example, you mainly see his back or the camera is in a distance. The announcers, the commentators, you have Byron Saxton, you have Michael Cole, and you have Corey Graves. They're all modeled there. You hear the dialogue. There's no effort into, them talking. They're all just static characters. Michael Cole looks very rough. I get it. The focus isn't on them a lot, but for those shots of entrances or whatever where you do see the three of them sitting there, would have been nice to see a little bit more life in their character models, other than just the generic sway, I'm not an animatronic, some kind of motion there. But other than that, very little effort put into those four. As for the rest, the superstars, the wrestlers themselves, they look fantastic. There's a lot of screenshot comparisons you can see from a 2K20 to a 22 of the active wrestlers. Seeing that glow up, as people say, it's fantastic. Granted, the legends, those maybe who haven't been scanned in years or unfortunately are no longer with us, yes, I agree. Some of those guys still look, and I don't know what to say about that, because the current people are scanned, similar to the NBA. It's a full whole camera cornucopia thing that they sit in and taking all these photos and stuff like that, and then those photos are transferred into the 3D software. So they're gonna look better because you have all these angles, all these shots. The light is like the son of heaven, whatever. It's like the beams of heaven coming down upon them. You can see everything and anything. So they're gonna look great. The legends, unfortunately, we can't do that, especially if you're trying to capture them in their prime. You can't do that. So you have to kind of let the people build them. Now, could it be better? Sure. But, I give that a little bit of a leeway, because just by comparison, it makes sense why they wouldn't look as great. Superstars themselves, active wrestlers, phenomenal. The entrances look great. And there's a few of them that definitely go way above and beyond that I feel are the top-notch ones. Demon Finn Balor, I think, is my favorite that I've seen. The camera motion in there and the build-up to his entrance and him, finally making his appearance, great. Karrion Kross and Scarlett, no big surprise. That's a fantastic one. Shotzi Blackheart with her tank. Tank sounds a little bit overpowering, but overall, really, really good. The entrances look phenomenal, and I think that's great. That's exciting. Sometimes in games past, the superstars, the bigger names, like a Cena, like a Reigns, like a Rollins, got a little bit more attention than the other people. And not to say that an Alexander Wolf or a Peyton Royce looks holy shit, this is amazing. Everybody does look good in their entrance, which I think is the good thing. It's not just generic, hey, I'm here kind of thing. There was love and care put in all of them. Do some look better than others? Yes, but it's not the biggest deficit compared to past years, in my opinion. So, entrances look great. Last little note on exhibition. Commentary. Commentary sounds really good too. Between the three, like I said, Byron, Cole, and Corey. These guys did really well. Obviously, Byron and Corey work together in Raw. Cole's over on SmackDown. But the trio really bounce off each other well in their commentary. And it does a good job of not feeling super scripted. There are certain points where dialogue will repeat itself, especially if you use a superstar over and over again. Their entrance commentary is pretty much the same. Wish they could have added a little bit of variety in there. But in the match itself, it doesn't sound fake or pre-recorded. Well, I mean, duh, it is. It doesn't sound... It sounds organic in the moment. How they react to moves, facts they're telling about the superstars, really good. Now, the one thing that I just want to add before I move on to the next game mode is a small thing. And I wouldn't have noticed this if I hadn't set up things in a match recently in a specific way. So I decided, I downloaded some alternate attires for Keith Lee and I think it was AJ Styles. I decided to put those two in a match, but then I was also like, you know what? Let's put Riddle, let's put Karrion Kross, and I think I put, Gargano. I put those guys in. I was like, all right, let's go, and we're going to have a 5-way at TakeOver 31. It's like, throw them in there. Just a little nostalgia, because obviously most of these guys were NXT alums. So I throw them in there. Entrances look cool, like I'm saying, blowing smoke up the ass. Entrances look great. The commentators make the generic, commentary while the superstars are entering. The small thing that I really appreciated and felt like they went that extra level, because we were at a takeover, they shared stories about each of the NXT alums. Keith Lee did this at a takeover. Cross won this title at this takeover. Gargano and his takeover history. It's Johnny Takeover, Tommaso Ciampa, DIY. They talked about that. Riddle winning his takeover debut in 6 seconds. R.I.P. What's his name? KO. It was another KO. Cassius Ohno, Chris Hero. They talked about these moments during the entrance, and that, like I said, it was just that little extra that was like, whoa, this is awesome. So that specific example just was really fun. Are there other ones? I'm sure. Maybe if you put Rollins in Mania or Reigns in Mania, but stuff like these. Just, it was that little extra cherry on top that really was nice to hear. It was that love and care put in there instead of just nope, we'll throw in the one line. That's it. So, awesome there. So, moving on from Exhibition, I'd love to talk about GM mode, but I have no experience with GM mode. I haven't played GM mode. I'm very excited to. Papa Griff and I are going to dive head on into that mode soon. I will give my little quick impressions of GM mode or just thoughts on it based on Up, Down, Down's footage. Shout out to them. Go subscribe, all that fun stuff. Great to see GM mode back. Variety in gameplay. Mode we haven't had in SmackDown 2008, so 14 years. Holy shit. Glad it's back in. Things that aren't great about it. No mid-card title. No tag titles. Smaller rosters. Okay. 3 matches. Okay. I think the title thing. The tag title and the mid-card. More the tag team, per se, is my kind of thing. I get it. It's their first year back. They went heavy into the game mode mechanics and whatever. I'd love to see these patched in, but I don't know if they will. As of other stuff we'll talk about later, I don't know their plans for quote-unquote fixing things in this aspect. Obviously, they're going to fix, bugs and whatnot, but we'll have to wait and see if they add anything to GM mode. And granted, like I said, this is their first year. This is the first year 2K is tackling it, and the first year it's been back in that 14-year span. So we got to kind of give them a little bit of, I feel, a little bit of a pass. This sets up what next year could be. Hopefully 2K keeps the license. Maybe it's going to EA. Who knows? But this sets us up. This is the foundation. The rest is building blocks. Similar to, I feel like other modes they've had in previous 2Ks. Early on. Like a universe mode, like I talked about. Like a showcase mode. This is the foundation. Now we just build on top of it. How do we make it better? So, just quick thoughts on GM. Excited to actually try it out myself. So let's hop over to the My Rise mode, the career mode for this year. I played a little bit, probably put, 2-3 hours into it, not including the create a wrestler part. And it's pretty fun. It's exciting so far. I haven't hit that wall yet of I'm doing the same matches over and over again. And I think that's the important thing, is keeping it interesting. You start off, you're going to the performance center, you're trying to prove yourself, you're doing the training courses, you talk with other wrestlers that are doing the same thing, and through that, you get different missions and objectives of like, oh, what's your fantasy match? Or wrestle this guy and try and hit your finisher first to win the match. And it's been fun. It's exciting. It's very quick matches. It's in and out gameplay. But the dialogue that you get to talk with or have with these characters, whether you're going to be a good guy, a face, a bad guy, and a heel, it's fun. It's interesting. It's not just week to week, hop in the ring, no real story or build up or anything. I'm excited to see where it goes down the line. I do like the freedom of being able to really choose how you want to build your character, obviously in looks and moveset and stuff like that, but also like how you want them to act. Do you want to be a good guy? Do you want to be a bad guy? And then the freedom and flexibility of changing when you want to. It's not only specific junctures. Like, yes, it is with a dialogue choice, but it seems like you have that freedom to kind of weave in and out whenever you want to. You don't have to be this golden baby face that only does the right things all the time. You can kind of have this fluidity in your character and, be different shades of gray, which is nice. And then the other thing that I've seen so far in my gameplay is some of the missions you can kind of go out and do indie shows. So, for example, I've wrestled in Mexico and I've wrestled over in Japan. Very quick stints, but nice to kind of see this variety. I know in 20, based on other people's playthroughs and the unlockables, they had a similar experience here, where you could go on the independents and face the jobbers or the nobodies. It's just nice to see that return here, just for like quick little things. Hasn't been like this 10-week run over in there fighting nobody I know, but just quick little appearances. Nice to see. Now, the opposite side of my rise. We talked about the indie promotions. You can unlock these different arenas as well eventually by doing certain missions and tasks. I haven't gotten to this point personally, but seeing people online, Twitter, and the characters you potentially can run into. I've run into one. You run into certain wrestlers under different gimmicks. This is obviously a game that's been in process for 2 years, so maybe they made the My Rise prior. But you see older gimmicks. You see Alexa Bliss before her Fiend persona kind of took her over. You can see a Mustafa Ali before Retribution. And you can see a Dominik Dijakovic also before Retribution. Cool. Awesome. I think there's also a Triple H 98. You can get that in a flashback. So him with the long hair. All cool. Fantastic. Great. These characters looked phenomenal. They got your other theme music. They got the different look. Are these people unlockable? No. Can you use them in any different modes? No. Why? Why are we doing this? It's such a cool thing to include. And then just to put all this effort into it to not allow the player to unlock it, to use it, to, do anything with it, sucks. And now I get it. Granted, these are different character gimmicks than maybe the superstars are using currently, but does that really matter? No, because you get Showcase, which we'll talk about soon. You get like 50 Rey Mysterios. Granted, his character never changes, but his outfit's all different. You get different Eddie Guerreros, like I just mentioned Triple H. Hell, we get fucking 5 Undertakers, if you pre-ordered and got the Undertaker Legacy Pack. Granted, also, Undertaker hasn't changed his character, really. It's been the biker gimmick and the dead gimmick, whatever. What? Why? You put so much effort into this character model of King Corbin. He's a piece of shit. Let me throw him in a match and beat him up from time to time. Shinsuke Nakamura, before he was a king, he's in there. Let me do that. Makes no sense. They've said online they're not going to make a patch and make these characters available, which is a bunch of bullshit. I think the username is What's the Status. Somehow they are uploading those versions of the character on the Creative Suite. I don't know if they're on PC and kind of breaking the system. I don't fucking know. But shout out to them. If you really do want to go download them, you can. But the fact that they aren't just available Like, I get, if it was unlockable, fine. I get that. That's incentive to play the My Rise mode. But no, it's just, fuck it. They're not in that. That is a big annoyance. Big annoyance. So that's My Rise. My thoughts on that. Talked about Showcase. Let's talk about Showcase. Showcase this year, I would say, is fine. It's okay. Great commentary from Ray, explaining all of his different matches and, you know, the moments that made his career. But overall, the gameplay, as I mentioned before, that one run through, it's okay. After that, it's like, I'm never going to touch this again. I felt this one was very task heavy. Granted, other showcases have had those objectives. Do this move in this area, do this point, this point. This one felt very, and maybe it's just the way I played it, that was like the forefront. You could obviously still play the matches how you wanted to, but it felt like there was a lot of objectives put into place. The moments they tackled in the mode, okay. I know there was some bigger omissions that people were kind of complaining about when Showcase finally showed what the 9 matches were going to be. I get that. But they were fine. It was very cool. One personally that I thought was very cool to see was the Grand Metalik and Rey Mysterio match. The fact that they put that in there, you know, unfortunately Grand Metalik is not in the company anymore, but just was like a nice touch. Like, hey, let's put this newer, to the WWE audience, this newer talent over and kind of build them up a little bit more. Cool to see. The unlockables in this mode, also nice. You get some Eddie Guerrero skins. You get Seth Rollins as the Messiah, which is fantastic. We'll include that one, but we won't include the My Rise ones. Whatever, I'm still bitching on it. We get that. You know, you get to see Murphy as the disciple as well, or whatever he was calling himself. It was fun. You get Dominic overall in the mode as well, so another superstar to unlock. Now let's talk about unlockables in a little segue. Well, I guess transition out of Showcase mode. If you pre-order, you get the season pass included. You can get the season pass at any point if you didn't pre-order. Season pass comes with the supercharger. Allows you to unlock everything. Gives you the My Rise, like, step ahead, whatever the fuck they want to call it. Okay, cool. Past years, they've given you an option if you want to use it or not. This year, no option. Just auto-unlocked everything. So all the VC, virtual currency superstars, aka the legends, just auto-unlocked. Not happy about that. Want something to work towards. However, you would think something that unlocks all the unlockables would unlock all the unlockables. No. Only unlocks the legends in the store on the main page. Doesn't unlock any of the arenas in My Rise. So your Japan, your Mexico, your Mae Young Classic. I don't remember what the other ones are. Or the superstars in the Ray Showcase. So, for me, I like chasing after those unlockables. Like I said, it's incentive to play. I was fine with that. I can't see how that is great for everybody, especially when you think, hey, this gets me the unlockables. And then it doesn't. That's not great. So, just a heads up there, if anybody here is listening and hasn't gotten the pre-order yet, or the season pass, if you're getting the supercharger, expect that. Legends unlocked, like Big Boss Man, Beth Phoenix, Booker T, etc., those will be unlocked. You don't have to use virtual currency, which you can earn in-game. You'll get those, but you won't get the rest. Just a heads up. So, anywho. So let's go over to potentially my favorite mode, is My Faction. My Faction is something special, and I'm glad they added it this year. Very similar to a My Team in an NBA, and I know some people go hard on the My Team in NBA. This is a mode that I can definitely see that I'm going to be spending a lot of my time in. Essentially what My Faction is a card collector. You do matches, you chase objectives, you collect cards. You can use those superstars as the cards. In other matches, you progress. There's different challenges for certain superstars, do so many finishers with Tommaso Ciampa, win by submissions this many times, and that will upgrade the card and make it better. Or you have just the gameplay challenges. Get so many my faction points in this match, or complete this match with at this difficulty, blah blah blah, whatever. So my faction's a lot of fun. In my faction, there's a subset, look at me using fancy words, of 3 game modes. There is Proving Ground, there is Faction War, and then there's Faction Weekly, I think is what it's called. So, Proving Ground is essentially like big chapters of like, I don't know, 10 to 12 matches. And these are the difficulty-based ones. If you do it on normal difficulty, you get a medal. You can win however you want to. Great. You do it on hard, you get 2. You do it on legendary, you get 3. Completing this big 12 matches of medals, you have the opportunity to unlock a card. Cool. Okay. And then there's like X amount of those, whatever. So you can chase after that. This is the mode most equivalent, I would say, to in an NBA My Team of my team versus the current Boston Celtics. Okay, I have my difficulty I can pick, and then also like how many points did I get in my team based on my performance, passes, assists, goal or goals, what the fuck, field goals, whatever, all the stuff all builds into it. Same thing here. You play the match, and pretty much every action, most actions, will build up your my faction points. Did you do a finisher? Great. That will give you points. Signature gets you points. Crowd taunt gets you points. Taunting your opponent gets you points. Points. Did you do certain moves as a brawler, as your wrestler, like heavy strikes or grapples or running maneuvers as an aerial superstar or springboards? Did you do those? You get rewarded. Do you have to? No. You absolutely have the freedom to just do the match how you want to. But if you want those My Faction points to work towards your score and then also build as a currency for yourself to unlock the packs and other cards, then you'll do them. So, you got the Proving Ground. Then you have Faction War. This, I would say, is probably the low point of My Faction, and only for one reason. The game mode is great. It's like a ladder. You win a match, you get the opportunity to, like, roulette wheel, win a prize, whether it's cards that are superstars or consumable cards or currency to use to buy stuff. Like, that makes sense. And in this, it's seasonal. So from this date to, I believe, April 1st is the first season. If you get so many wins, you can build up to, like, super special cards, like a sapphire ranking or a platinum. I'm making that up. You can get these special cards by getting total wins overall. Great. All cool. All makes sense. Sounds great. However, the matches themselves aren't bad, but they're rough. They put you in 4v4 tag matches. So 4 of your superstars, your cards, against a random assorted 4. And you fight. Now, once again, basically, that's fine. You know, it's a normal match. However, if you've ever played tag matches in any of these games, even 2-on-2s, you pin your opponent, the other partner runs in, drops an elbow, hits you, axe handle, whatever, breaks up the pin. Now, imagine this with 3 partners on the corner. Usually in a 2v2, you could cheese it. Okay, I hit my finisher on the guy. Now I got to run over to the corner, give him a smack with the elbow, make him drop off the apron, and now I can go for the pin. That's a lot harder with 3 opponents in the fucking corner. So it's a little bit more difficult. I'd love to spend more time in this mode, but that's just a little annoying that, like, there's rarely opportunity. Do your tag partners come in and try and make the save? They do. and they will take the guy after they break up the pin. They'll get in a little scuffle. Maybe they'll fight outside the ring for a while. They will do that. It's just not super simple to get the win when you want to get the win. It feels like such a chore to do. So, maybe change up that format, 2K. Then you get your last mode, the weekly towers, which I've been enjoying a lot. I'd say that's probably where I've been putting the most of my time in my faction. Now, I say weekly towers. This is not a limited time event, so like week 1's tower will be gone after today, whatever. No. They're adding a new tower each week. So if you buy this game, 2 months out, you'll have 8+ weeks in there. From my understanding, I haven't seen any timer clocks on anything. So these are like, it's the same thing as the Proving Ground, but it's not the medals. It's just beat Finn Balor with this amount of my faction points earned. So 15. I think it's like 5 matches and it like progressively gets harder. So like 15, 30, 60, 90, whatever. And they're not all one-on-one. Some's one-on-one, some's tag, some's triple threat, It's variety. And with each match that you do, you win prizes. You can win a consumable pack. You can win a card. You can do this, that, the other thing. That's a lot of fun. So, the thing that I think makes this so fun is just the rewards. Gimme, 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 gimme. All the cards you can collect. You got bronze ranking, silver ranking, gold ranking. You got the evolution cards, which are ones that can, like, if you do the challenges, like I talked about with Tommaso Ciampa, finishers, submissions, that card can evolve into the next rank up, which is essentially just giving him better stats. There's Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald. There's a lot of crazy rankings in there. And just like doing this collection aspect, the unlocking, is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to do. I can see how it's not for everybody, for sure. But for right now, I love it. And you can use real money, similar to my team with this, if you want to buy packs, to buy whatever, or just all organically. You can do it in matches, which is my plan. Whatever in-game currency you use, you build up to it, you can buy a pack. Are the prices a little bit high and steep? Yes, because this is how NBA 2K makes their money. Bread and butter is people spending real money. So I think right now, for a pack of 5 cards of their signature series, I think it's 2,100 of your like my faction points. So yeah, I'm not going to do the math for you of how many matches that is. It's a few. But along with obviously completing challenges, you'll get my faction points for that as well. So you can get them quick. So you could buy the single pack for X amount, 2,100, hypothetically. They also at the time have this thing called the Signature Series, which they'll have different runs, if it's like NBA, different runs of like special and unique cards, which is just different character art. Maybe the stats are a little bit different. I believe one pack of the Signature Series is like 4,800. And then there are different ones where it's like similar to a Pokemon card or Yu-Gi-Oh cards, where like instead of just the one booster pack of 5 cards, if you wanted to save up, you could get 5 packs of 5 and, get a bunch. Obviously, you just got to save up your points a little bit more, or you're spending some cash. So you have options there. And the nice thing is, too, if you really want to get like super in depth with it, they do have stats and like percentages of like what's your chance of getting a superstar. You're guaranteed 1. What's your chance of getting this rarity? It's X amount. You get this consumable. If you want to look into that data, you can. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Papa Griff, you mentioned you had a question about the mode, so feel free to shoot. A lot of fun with that mode. Really enjoying it. I'm excited to see what else they add for cards. That's always been something on the NBA side, like, a Legends card, or like this Hall of Fame arena or whatever. And you can unlock, along with the superstars, you can unlock like cosmetic stuff, like different logos or the name bars, stuff like that. I don't really know 100% what's the point of that with this only being a single player mode. There's no online component as far as I've seen, which I personally like because I'm not going to play online mode. But, maybe down the road they'll add that. I don't know. I will say one thing that is frustrating is the mode is tied on to online. There's no online where I can fight people, but if the online services are down, you can't play this mode. That's a big sucks. Now, I get it because the whole virtual currency thing, it's got to be tied to the online, like you spend points, it's this whole marketplace, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. I get that. When it's down and you can't play it, that's unfortunate. They have been having some online issues this first week. They are working on it. It has gotten a little better. Just a heads up there. No online, no faction. Okay, spot for Chris' question. So, my faction. So what is with the card's strength attributes? That is, what are they for? Because you always fight, so how does the quality of the card and or its ranking impact your gameplay, if at all? Meaning, if you used the Bronze Roddy instead of the Gold Finn in the match you streamed, would the outcome been any different? That's a good question. Now, I don't know if there's an easy way to test this. I guess if I had so for example, off stream, I had played some more and I had already had a gold Raquel Gonzalez due to my NXT starter pack. I had unlocked in my collection a silver Raquel Gonzalez. So ultimately, I think what comes down between it is stats. So in each card, you can see like a strength, a dexterity, submission, tactical, offense. I don't fucking know. Some stats like that. So the ranking of the card, bronze, silver, gold, etc. The higher the ranking, the higher the stats. So, okay, my strikes deal more, or maybe I have a bigger window to reverse. These may be things I'm making up. That would be my understanding. Once again, bringing NBA into these things. Your shooting percentage, your speed, your defensive ability, that would be kind of that side of things. So your team could be rough if you have people who aren't great shooters and that's really build up. So you need your star cards. With this, would the outcome be any different? That I don't know. Maybe because I'm still kind of early on, like the difficulty's still easier. Maybe it's toned down, so it doesn't really matter what cards I use. For something like, let's use the my faction, the war thing, the 4v4. The more wins you get, you will face harder enemies. So like more difficult cards. So as you're upgrading your cards, hopefully, the computer system is also upgrading their cards. So the match may be like a little bit more back and forth. Not that necessarily the superstar is more aggressive, like a harder difficulty, like a hard or a legendary, but maybe because their stats are higher, maybe their offensive moves do a little bit more damage to your stamina bar. Maybe their submissions are better, so maybe they can kind of swing things in the favor of them a little bit easier. So if I'm going after them, Jesus, with a bronze card, I could still win. It's definitely possible. It might just be like that mountain to climb is going to be steeper for me. It's going to be more of a chipping away instead of that even back and forth if it's a bronze card against an emerald card. That would be my guess. Is it just comes down to skill and like what you're doing with the gameplay. Because same thing, once again with NBA, you could still win those matches. It's just going to be a little bit harder. So that would be my thinking here. Once again, I don't know 100% card to card. I know I've seen the stat differences between Raquel Silver and Raquel Gold. But I don't think personally there's any gameplay difference for me. It could be an attribute thing too. So like maybe Silver Raquel doesn't have the payback ability that Gold Raquel does. So like I'm really tired. I can recover my stamina using the payback ability. Maybe. I haven't looked that in depth with the different cards to know if that's 100%, but that could be definitely a potential thing they could mess around with or modify between the two cards. But that's definitely an interesting gameplay mechanic to look into that I'm interested in. So thank you for that. So yeah, my faction's been a lot of fun. And the nice thing too is they show you all of the collections. So like, what are the NXT? Here's the NXT series cards. Okay, here's all, I don't know, 30 of them. And they have it split into different series. So like, if you get all these 5 cards, you'll be rewarded as well, similar to the challenges of like a consumable pack, a superstar pack, a currency. They have collection rewards as well, which is nice. So it just seems like a mode that is rewarding for like, you play more, you get more. So yeah, sounds reasonable. All these modes are play modes, or do they have sim options where the card v card would matter more? As far as I've seen, it is you physically playing the game. There's no simulations. Not like a WWE Supercard where mobile game. Like, I'm going to put in this person to go against this person, this tag team to go against this, and then they do the little, bumping against each other, and then whoever had the better stats wins. As far as I know, it's only user-controlled stuff and not simulated, but that would be another thing to check out and see. If it was simulated, I would think stats would definitely heavily come into play and would be like, oh, who has the better stats? Okay, they win. So there's that. But yeah, what else do I have for WWE? Oh, a little quick touch on the creative stuff. People are crushing it with the creative superstar, the creative belt, the creative arena. Good job on that, community. That's never been my forte. I like creating stuff, but I always am very skeptical or judgmental of what I create. So I'll leave that to the professionals, quote unquote. Very easy to access and find things that you want to. I highly recommend going to the most downloaded or most upvoted. Those seem to be the best quality ones. A lot of people, have made obviously AEW superstars, Omega, Adam Cole, the Bucks, stuff like that. Cool to see those. Obviously, they're not going to be as great overall quality, but cool to see them. The people who are making the championship titles, I don't know who the fuck they are, but they're nailing it. I downloaded the Impact Knockouts Championship just to throw that on Mickie James, but that title looks fantastic. AEW titles are in there. Impact titles are in there. Looks great. Arenas, some look really good, some don't. I get it. It's like a green screen. It's essentially this flat ass image. You're just putting the tunnels on there for AEW or whatever. But I get it. They're not going to give you all that stuff. But yeah, Creative Suite, all great. Good stuff there. Just gives you the freedom to obviously be a little more current with your stuff, or if you want to take it to a GM mode or a universe to go head to head with those things. You do that. Yes, we need to make Butch Pete Dunne, motherfucker. So there's that. I will say one negative overall about the creative stuff, and this is not the creative suite at all. This is more just the 2K side of things. Unfortunately, I think this was also in 20. You can still only have one alternate attire per character, so that blows. You, however, could save it as a new superstar. So if I make an outfit for Gargano and I don't want to use it as an alternate attire, I can essentially save him as a different Johnny Gargano. So you could. Still only the 100 creative slots for superstars. I've never personally had an issue with that. I know obviously the creative people, because they're making so many of the superstars, are like, on that. But, it depends really on what you're looking for. If you want 10 different, Jeff Hardys, then just be aware of that. You only have 100 slots, and one is official alternate attire. The rest will have to be saved as their own thing. But yeah, 2K22, I think it's a step in the right direction. I wouldn't say it's the perfect game. Obviously, I've mentioned my gripes with the unlockables and certain things missing out in like a GM mode and stuff like that. But I think this is definitely a step in the right direction. I think this 2-year hiatus since a 2K20 with that game, allegedly, I never had issues, breaking and bugging a lot. This time gap has really benefited them. And similar games like have seen success from doing this as well. Assassin's Creed was a yearly release, and they decided, whoa, we need to slow down. And now we get games like Odyssey, we get Origins, we get Valhalla, which are fantastic. So it's a little bit harder, I'd say, with a sports title, because I know they want to stay up to date. They want to stay consistent with what's going on current product-wise. So only time will tell, really, how like a 2K23 will do. Once again, if they keep the license and doesn't go over to EA, which are rumors at the moment. But also I feel like this was a big rebuilding step for them. I think they were using a lot of old code or old stuff. So maybe similar to a GM mode, this has given them the foundation. Now they can just elevate from here and do better and better, which I hope so. We'll have to just wait and see. Time will tell.